Hi everyone, it's Jim here, and welcome to my review of Requiem, the 14 Korn album. Let's begin. As usual, I'm going to show you my project. Since the last review, I've decided to change some things. At first we are going to review individual songs, and after that we'll move to the entire album. Before we start the review, let me share the story of how I've discovered Korn. It was like the beginning of 2001, and my sister's husband had a PC and he would let me go and play some games on it, mostly GTA 2 and Heretic 2, and he also had Winamp. It was this old program. Nowadays kids use Spotify, Tidal, stuff like that. Back then it was all about MP3s and Winamp, and people would download music from Napster or something, and he had the first 4 Korn albums. The newest one was Issues back then, and I've just loved the music. I did not understand any words they were saying because English is my third language. Back then I didn't know English at all, so I was just listening to Korn, and every time he was doing this scat noises, rocka rocka rocka, always doing it with him, and I would dance around the room listening to that stuff. Man, that was over 21 years ago, can you imagine? So yeah, nowadays I'm old, I understand what these songs are about, I still enjoy them, I still love this band, and this year in February we've been given a gift called Requiem, and let's start the review. So Requiem was released on 4th February 2022, it's nu metal as usual. It's a new label for Korn called Rolna Vista, and new producer Chris Collier. So yeah, they've worked on this album because of COVID-19, and this was recorded before Phil's hiatus, so he's still on the record. Now, this is the track list. We have 9 songs, and Japanese deluxe edition has I Can Feel. I also listened to I Can Feel, so I'm going to include it in this review. As you can see, professional ratings were mostly positive, like 8 out of 10, 9. Most music is written by Korn, except 3 songs, as you can see. Lauren Christie is a woman who was a part of the Matrix duo. She mostly helped Korn with See You on the Other Side, and I hate that album. It's unlistenable pop garbage. Now this dude is actually interesting because he's in a band with Head called Love and Death, and he's also in Breaking Benjamin. The first song is called Forgotten. I mostly hate this song because of Jonathan's vocals. I don't know if you studied enough Korn's music. I've had 21 years to do that. The more you listen to Korn, the more you start noticing that around the Paradigm Shift and the Path of Totality records, Jonathan started exhibiting these pop-sounding vocals. Like in Untouchables, there was this one song called Hollow Life. You could already hear that small pop vibes in it, and it was bad. And then on See You on the Other Side, he decided to go all in on the pop stuff. It was terrible. On the next album it was half and half. Half of the singing was amazing. On Korn 3 the emotions were intact, the singing was great, it felt tortured and interesting. On the dubstep album it was half and half. That's when he actually started utilizing that pop sounding choruses and stuff, and I hated it. And that went on to the Paradigm Shift, which was terrible. Then it kinda faded out in the Serenity of Suffering, and the album was interesting and good. And on the Nothing, yet again, the pop sensibilities came back in his voice, and it ruined most of the songs for me. And these pop sensibilities are back on Requiem, and this will make most of the songs average. So that's my take on Jonathan's vocals. Let the Dark do the rest. I would give this one a 5 out of 10 easily. Now, Start the Healing is the first single. Lauren Christie helped with the song, so you know it sucks. I really enjoy the chorus in this song, but the verses, the singing in the verses is really popish, and I do not enjoy it at all. It's what ruins this song for me. Number 4 is a song called Lost in the Grandeur. It's actually a B-side from the Paradigm Shift called Cage. They've decided to finish it here. I really like the beginning, but after that it goes downhill. I would give this one like 5 out of 10. It's the best one so far. Now Disconnect, and this is a big surprise because Lauren Christie helped with this song, and I guess she finally did something good because this sounds great. I really enjoyed this song. This is a 7 out of 10, or maybe even 8 out of 10 easily. Now, Hopeless and Beaten. When I first heard this song, I was thinking this is going to be heavy because of the title, and it was not. Like, I mostly listen to music because of how it sounds and not what it's trying to say. Of course, sometimes the message is very important to me, like on these old Korn albums. When Will This End? From Take a Look in the Mirror and Counting on Me. These songs had really great lyrics that I felt in my soul, and I still do after all these years. And here, the only song that I really connect with is Worst Is On Its Way. This one will be a 5 out of 10. What I've really enjoyed about Hopeless and Beaten was the beginning, you know, that doomy riffs, growling in the chorus, but then he starts singing like a child. Like, the singing sounds really happy and disconnected from the rest of the music. It's really hard for me to enjoy it because of that. You have a song called Hopeless and Beaten, and you expect growth, you expect sadness, and you get something like that was in the chorus, this kind of singing, and I was like, no, this doesn't fit, please remove it. Penance to Sorrow, this was another surprise. I really enjoyed this song. Instruments were good, vocals are also good. Replayability, I would say yes. This one is a 7 out of 10. It's a song I will be coming back to. My Confession. Now, here we have another abomination. As usual, Jonathan is using that pop singing style. He's not using it always. There are just some bits and pieces when he does it, and it ruins the entire song for me. This is why I am not giving these songs 0 out of 10 or 1 out of 10. It's because I hear good stuff in these songs and I hear some good vocals, but then the bad vocals come in and I am unhappy. I don't want to hear it. And this is how I feel with the song My Confession. I don't want to hear it ever again. So no, I don't want it. It's a 3 out of 10. And the final song on the standard edition of the album, Worst Is On Its Way. I think that's sarcastic because the worst already came. It was called See You on the Other Side. Instruments are actually great here. I feel that old school Korn vibe in this song. I also think this is the only song on the entire record that I feel that spirit of Korn, of the previous Korn being here. The other songs are just like, sounds very generic to me. Vocals are great except that one little thing in the scatting part when he's just whining, something like that while he's scatting. I think it's bad. I wish we could remove it so I could enjoy the scatting more. Besides that, everything is perfect here. So that whining, I would say, makes this song a 9 out of 10. I remember this band called Earth Crisis and their second album, Gomorrah Seasons Ends. The structures there, like the song Broken Foundation, that structure was progressive as hell. The music was constantly changing and the transitions were amazing. It sounded like a living thing. And Korn does not do that anymore. They were doing it in the 90s, but since this century came up, they kinda abandoned this style. Maybe they were tired of doing these things because you have to put more time into it. They always talk about experimenting with their stuff and they're not experimenting. You haven't done anything interesting since the dubstep album basically. If Korn wants to do something experimental, do a 20-minute song with 20 different verses, a chorus that never repeats itself, and the rest are just different transitions and changes, that would be experimenting with your music. That would be something interesting. Creating a song like Forgotten or Start the Healing is not experimental or interesting at all. It's just basic pop structure. I am not going to even remember this stuff the next day I wake up. I will not remember Start the Healing or Forgotten. I forgot about the Forgotten already, and I can feel it's the same as Forgotten and Start the Healing. I really don't like these songs, 2 out of 10. So yeah, let's go to the album verdict, final verdict. The production. They've used analog tapes and stuff, they take pride in it, but actually you can't hear any of that. This doesn't feel like an analog recording. You know what was analog? Korn 3 was. I could hear it. I could feel that rawness coming out of it. Here it's very overproduced, it just blends in. It's a typical modern production, so I would say it's kinda good, so above average. It doesn't have that punch. Also, there is not much bass in the mix. The first 6 Korn albums, the bass was always up front. Here it's like he doesn't care, or the band doesn't want the bass to be up front. I hope Fieldy will come back and he will be finally heard and his bass is going to be up front once again. Because I want to hear some Fieldy, man. Now, consistency. Yes, this album is consistent. It's boring from the start to the finish. The songs vary in quality from good to average to 3 out of 10, so kinda weak. It's not very consistent in its quality. Kinda consistent. Now, flow is another thing. Flow of the album is how you start listening to it, then you finish and you feel like it was a one thing, a journey. And this really sounds like a journey because the songs are not that much different from each other, so they run well. Kinda you can fall asleep sometimes, but they run well. So flow is good. Now, meaning of this album is that we want some good things, and when we have these good things, we must be prepared because the bad stuff might be lurking around the corner. Makes you think. So yeah, I would rate this album average. It has some good songs that you should check out. I would recommend listening to Worst Is On Its Way, Penance to Sorrow, and Disconnect. Also maybe Lost in the Grandeur and Let the Dark Do the Rest. So yeah, I think this album is better than See You on the Other Side and the Paradigm Shift, that's for sure. Is it better than the Dubstep album? I don't think so. Dubstep album had some bangers, it also had some very shitty songs, but at least it had some character and identity. They are already working on a follow-up, or maybe a deluxe edition, it's hard to tell. We are going to find out probably next year or in 2024. Whatever they will come up with, I am going to listen to it because I am a fan. Being a fan doesn't mean loving everything that the artist is putting out. Being a fan is supporting the band by going to the shows, by buying merch, and also by enjoying the good songs and shitting on the bad ones. That's my opinion. Also, if a band does something bad, fans should point it out. Like lately Tool did with the prices of the vinyls or something. Wasn't it like almost $1,000 for one vinyl of Fear Inoculum? It was so funny, like, why would you even buy this stuff for $8,000? You have to respect your fans, and fans must respect the artist. Like, I said that some of these songs are shitty, like Forgotten, but I am not saying that the band members are shitty. I respect them, and I hope they are going to create more, and that they are healthy and well, always wishing all the best to everyone. So, that was my review of Requiem. Like, subscribe, write down in the comments what you think about this album. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you think it's average? I also would love for you to write down in the comments which album should I review next, because there are a lot of them. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!